Now, today's video is about how to clean this Dreo fan. And I already cleaned mine, and I just realized halfway that as I was cleaning it, I realized that this could be useful, so that's why I'm recording it. In this unit, you'll see that the easiest, now it's clean, but how do you access the internal part? And this is what this video is going to be about, how to do it. The easiest part is that you go through the back of it, and you have to take these two screws in here and these two screws in there. Be careful that once you take that out, and this is a summary of the entire video, you'll have to, from this downside is the best part, you have to slightly pull it. Once you pull it, you have to access how to unclip all this section, and without turning it, how to do the other side, and then you'll be able to access the inside. And that's what we are going to do in this video, how to clean this Dreo fan. Now, how to take this back part, it's a bit complicated. Well, not complicated, but at first, how do you tackle it? Actually, very easy, I should say. You have two screws in here, and you have two screws. Let me see if I can zoom in. You have two screws in there, and those screws, you actually try to take them out. Just unscrew them. And put them in a safe space so that you know that you won't lose them. Okay, now is the tricky part. And this is the part, the entire part of the ensemble and disassemble, it's this one. I have found that the best part to take this out is from the back, from the bottom in here. Let's see if I can hold the camera. So if you go in here and slightly push this, it's difficult to do it with just one hand, but with both hands, slightly from the bottom and equally force distributed, then you should just slightly put it in. And once you have that, this has clips all along this part. So the best part is to take like a screw or something and put it, you can't see it from there, and just take it in here and then go all along, trying, do you hear that? Trying to take that out. Careful to not break, because these clips are plastic, so they might break. Okay, so do you see that? So you have to do that all the way from both sides. I tried to do it at the same time. I think if you try to do it at the same time, you might break it. So maybe go from one side as best as you can, and then without pushing it too much, and then go from the other side to break it, to not break it, but to take it apart. And you should be good to go to expose the entire internal part and take this out. And so once you have taken out the cover, this is what you will have. And how to take this, it will be very important. You have to take out these two screws and this other one, and you have to turn this side, you have to turn it until you have that screw there, and you unscrew it. Once you unscrew it, be very careful to not put too much tension, then you will be able to take this out. This is the first step. Carefully pull this side, and you'll be able to pull this. Careful with the screws, better to just take the screws out first, put them in a safe place. And then take this piece out. Be very careful, because this is what is keeping all that frictionless position. And then careful as you pull this, just hand this a bit high, not too much, because you will turn this, and then slightly pull it in that direction, and you'll be able to take this thing out. Once that is done, then you can vacuum the entire section and be very careful to not wet any of the electronics. Clean it with a I'm passing a bit of vacuum cleaner, and then I'll put a bit of a depth for it, and then once that is cleaned up, we can assemble it back. To clean this section, you can see that there is dust in there, so you'll have to use either a well, this is what I've found that it could be efficient for it. You can use a old toothbrush, or in this case, like I'm using something like this, and then try your best. This is tedious because literally we have to go all through it, but that's probably the best way to clean it. Now, as you're trying to clean this, you'll notice that you can't access all the way to the front and this side, which will be still dirty. So you can identify that there are 3 screws here and here that you can take out, so that this piece can be taken out and you will have more access to clean at least this edge. And finally, once you've taken that out, you can see that this piece will allow you to clean that last edge of the front window. Once you have cleaned that out, you will have to realign this. You can use the back of that piece in there to make sure that of the alignment, and once it's aligned, careful there, you can see in here. Then once you align that ring, plastic ring, it should sit in there and you can screw it back. But I definitely have to clean this better before putting it back. Be careful because this is plastic, so if you try to screw it too much, you'll break it. Finally, once you have cleaned the best you can your cylinder, just remember that this part will be close to the motor, while this part will be to the other end. The key here is to identify, because this has a special dent, and you can see that dent in there. So you have to rotate this part, and usually the part with the screw is the one that will be sitting in here, because the screw, you see that only has one thread. So the part front of the screw will be sitting here and fitting and fixing that so that it doesn't move. So if we just rotate the part in here, it should go, sorry about that, something like slowly, it should go right there. And you can see that there is a I'm not sure what's this called, but it's a kind of ring, so it's a stop ring, so it makes sure that it doesn't go below here. So if you try to not lose that part, because otherwise you'll have to buy it. Let me take that out a bit, so you see that the stop ring in right there, okay, and it should not go below that section. Once you have that, all you have to do is secure this part. You can actually, if you want, put a bit of oil in there. However, I do not recommend, because this part, at least this part, is fixed in here, so it doesn't rotate up. And if you put oil, then that oil can go down to the motor, and I'm not sure of how well that will behave, because this is an AC motor, so there will be magnets and coil with the current there to induce the torque. Now in this section, if you can see, let me see if I can focus it in here, there seems like the center has some kind of metal, and you can see that there is grease in there. I don't have grease. Usually silicone grease is a good one for here, or anything that is low to medium friction, because this doesn't have much. It should, if you align it perfectly, it should be vertical, so it's just literally slightly holding it to not move away, but it's always good to have it perfectly. So I just have a performance oil, so that is for shredders, and that's what I will put. But you have to be careful, because you know, it's just slightly, so it's like don't put too much, because otherwise you have all that oil in here. Preferably you should have grease. I just slightly oil it, so now it should be good to go. Okay, and it should sit right in there. You can see that it aligned perfectly, the holes, and it has enough space in there. It should be aligned. Now all you have to do is put the 2 screws in there, and this part should be good to go. Once these 2 screws are properly put on, remember not to not put too much force in it, because otherwise if you put too much torque you break the plastic. And make sure that this screw is tightly too, as it should be. Oops, you have to hold in here. Yeah, I'm trying to hold the camera and then, well, at the same time make sure. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now all we have to do is to put back the back cover, and we should be good to go. As you can see at the back, it has these clips that you have to make sure to align it in its proper position. So once you have that, this part will go to the top, as so. Make sure that this section aligns as best as you can with that, and once you have that, make sure that this back also aligns as best as possible. And once you have it aligned, don't force it, just make sure that it all fit as best as possible. Once you have it, then you have to push it slightly so that the clips, they should click. Now, once you have pushed it, I actually have to use both hands, one in this side, one in the other, so that it should clip on it. You should see that it aligns perfectly all the way to the back, and there are no gaps. So now that you have that, you can put the 2 screws in here and the other 2 screws in there, and you should be good to go. And now both screws are perfectly put on and in there, and you should have, I actually have to clean this, and your fan should be good to go then. Once you have done all that, you should be good to go. Now you can see that if you only clean it from the inside, you haven't still cleaned this part. Now that will be very tedious. I'll have to do it from the outside one to one the best I can, but the internal part is already clean.